Hey love, Happy New Year and welcome to the Ariel Show. I'm Ariel. Today we are talking about something so important, which is why I'm so fired up about it, and that is some of the subtle, sneaky ways that self-criticism can creep back into our lives. This is a big deal, and it makes me so passionate and fired up about this because most of us who have it the worst, who have the meanest inner critic, who have the most tormenting thoughts going on in our head about how miserable, horrible human beings we are, like how much we hate ourselves, all that, we don't even know it. And so if you don't know that you're sick, you can't get better. And that's why I feel like part of my life calling right now at this point in my life is to help call some of this BS out. Some of the stuff that we live with on a daily basis, we don't even know how crazy we've let it get inside our own heads because we don't talk about this stuff. So let's talk about it today. So first up, one of the ways that self-criticism can creep back into our lives is using our personal growth practice as one more way to beat ourselves up. And this is heartbreaking because a lot of times our intentions are good, right? We're doing this stuff, we're learning, we're growing, we're feeding on all this great information that's helping us and moving forward. And yet, at the same time, it can also very easily make us feel so inadequate. I don't know if you've ever experienced this where you're reading something and it feels like the author or whatever, or the blogger is so far ahead of where you'll ever be that it just makes you feel like even more of a loser. Or someone will have these great ideas, ways to change your life and move forward, and it just seems so impractical to you. You're like, yeah, but that's like if you're a millionaire and you can afford to never work and just sit around in a bubble bath all day, or yeah, that's if you're this kind of personality and I'm totally not. And it can just be one more way that we feel like we're never gonna measure up. We feel like we're never gonna be good enough. It can be one more way that we beat ourselves up. And that's heartbreaking. That's never the point. The point of your practice is moving forward. Everything that you're doing to try to, get your life to the next level, that should all feel good along the journey. Yeah, there'll be some discipline, there'll be some of that discomfort as you're growing, but you'll know that it feels right. It'll be like this good kind of discomfort. It won't be something that makes you feel icky. It won't be something that you're going to sleep feeling bad about yourself, or you're feeling like you'll never measure up. That's not the point. So keep that in mind on your own personal development journey here. As you're growing, it needs to feel good and life-giving. That's how you grow. Another way that self-hatred and self-criticism can really take over in these subtle ways is through comparison. And this is such a subtle little shift where you can be feeling so good about your life. And then we all know it all happens to all of us. We're going through a social media feed, something pops up, and just for a second, it takes your breath out. It can make you feel in an instant so much worse than you did just 30 seconds before. And a lot of times, we don't recognize this as it's happening. We're not sitting there thinking, I'm comparing myself to this woman and she looks like she's got the best life ever and now I feel like an idiot compared to her. We don't realize that's what's happening, but it's kind of how it starts to happen. And so you need to pay attention to your feelings because your feelings are usually louder than your thoughts are. So your thoughts aren't gonna be telling you, I compared myself to her and now I feel bad, but your feelings will be feeling bad. And you might start to kind of sink back into some of your old habits, or you might just not be feeling as jazzed up about your own life. You might be waking up not super excited about who you are. And so you need to trace back your steps and be like, okay, what was I doing? What was I thinking about? Where did this come from? And oftentimes when we're kind of shifting into that place of being a victim, where we're feeling like we're the victim of our own lives, we don't feel like we have control over where we're going, it's because we saw someone else's life and it looks like their life is easier than ours. It looks like it's more glamorous, like they just have more good opportunities than us. And then very easily we sink into that feeling of victimhood, and that's gonna suck all your power right out of you. That's the worst place to be. If you find yourself comparing yourself often to other people, you need to put that on your radar, which is what you're doing right now. I'm so proud of you. And you need to feed yourself different stuff. So it's never about you now comparing yourself to other people who are worse than you so you feel better about yourself. That's never the answer. That's all ego-based, and it's gonna get you just as much pain as it would be to be feeling worse about yourself. So never be doing that. What we wanna do is detach, where we're not comparing ourselves to other people based on these flashy, superficial, external measuring lines, because that's not what it's about. We stay in our own lane. We focus on what gives us joy, what makes us feel good about our lives, and that's gonna be surrounding ourselves with people we love. It's gonna be living a life in consistency with our values. It's gonna be living a creative life where we're putting our personality and self-expression into it. That's the kind of stuff that makes a good life. And so if you're falling into the trap of looking at other people's external accomplishments and letting that make you feel bad, that's a losing road. And I just encourage you to unfollow those people, get with a new group of friends, change your surroundings, whatever you have to do to protect your heart in this, because it will suck your energy dry. And the last thing I want to bring up today is perfectionism. This is a sneaky little punk right here. Perfectionism can ruin so much of our lives and we don't even know it. Just like the self-hatred thing, most of us who are perfectionists have not identified that that's what we are. We just think that we have high standards. We think we like things a certain way. We're particular, and these are all very true about me. Like I just have a way that I want it to be and it will drive me crazy unless it's not that way. That's what perfectionism is. You need it to be perfect, not perfect necessarily to anyone else's standards, just to your own. And that's a losing battle. You need to kind of let your logic in your head take over here for a second and just acknowledge that nothing is ever perfect. And that means that you're going to be putting out pieces of content or sharing parts of yourself or living a life that is not 100% perfect. That's what that means. It means that you're going to be doing the stuff, you're going to be showing up in life with room for improvement. But most people who are perfectionists, they let that stop them and they don't show up in life because they are aware that there's room for improvement, and so they let that inner critic stop them even before they get a chance to move forward. Just like what we talked about last week, we don't let our doubt make our decisions for us. You know what I'm saying? So find where perfectionism is trying to subtly sneak in and hack your life. Whether that's like you don't want to go out anymore because you know that you can't make your hair look perfect, or you don't want to speak up in a group because you know that you're not going to have the most brilliant thing to say, or you're not launching your blog or putting out your album or whatever the thing is because you know it's not all the way there yet. Let me tell you something. The brave people in the world who have done amazing things and like moved the world forward collectively, they've put out imperfect things. That's the nature of the beast. No one ever puts out anything perfect. That's not a thing. No one is ever like, yes, this is 100% what I meant to say and I just nailed it. Like it doesn't happen. You put something out there, you show up as yourself knowing there's a lot of room. Like you're like, oh, this is kind of what I meant to do, but not 100%. That's what you do. That's the way it works. And so we need to be tackling perfectionism in every area of our lives, whether that's the way that we look, the way that we speak, our lives, the amount of money we're making, the way that our home looks, whatever it is, where you're just beating yourself up and being super harsh, chill the F out, honey, okay? 90% is always good enough. Just be cool with 90%, okay? That's what I got for you. Be on the lookout this week for those subtle ways where perfectionism, comparison, and just letting those self-hatred thoughts creep in and take over your life, because that's not a cool way to live. It's a soul-sucking way to live, isn't it? And if you're feeling more discouraged and more hopeless most of the time, that's a sign that something's off. You need to put some attention on this and learn how to give yourself some love. And speaking of putting out things that are not perfect, but just going for it anyway, that's what I have done with my first book ever called Turn Your Pain into Art, One Self-Hater's Journey to Self-Love, Authenticity, and Creative Freedom. This imperfect yet love-filled book comes out in 1 week. And I want to give away a copy to one of you. In fact, not just this, I want to give away another one of my favorite books, which is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. This thing helped me out a lot. This thing will help you learn to love yourself. This thing will help you feel more badass in your life. So it's a really great combination. One of you who leaves a comment below, make sure that you're subscribed, like this episode, leave me a comment. 3 things: subscribe, like, comment, and I will be giving one of you a copy of both of these books. I will be sending them to your house. So I will announce the winner next week when the book comes out, January 12th. I'm so excited. Thanks guys for your love and support. It's going to be a great year, and I'll see you next week when the book will come out. Yes.